guest with us here this evening, Pauline Fayne, one of our friends. Where's the book I had in my hand? It was here. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Glenn McLaughlin, the directors of the White House, I bid you welcome to this, the, would you believe, the 456th consecutive Wednesday night of poetry here in the White House. And there's nowhere else in Limerick, and there's nowhere else in the national outlook, and there's nowhere else in the international that has got as many people, as many poets, as many beautiful people in this. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Everybody agree?
Yes.
3 cheers to the White House. Hip hip. Hip hip. And 3 cheers for all those other people who tried to be like them. Hip hip. That's brilliant. I like my folds to be nice and well handled. Yes. You break them right at the beginning, they'll come tastefully over. You break them wrong in the beginning, then they make a complete balls of the situation. Pauline Fayne was born in Dublin, ladies and gentlemen. She was born in I won't tell you when she was born, that's her business. Not to mention her daughter's here tonight, she's going to sing us a song. So I'm damned if I'm going to tell everybody her age. She lives in Tala, County Dublin. Her first collection, ladies and gentlemen, Journey, was published in 1979 by Shevek Press, Dublin. Her second collection, Killer of Fishes, was published by Stony Bridge Publications in 2001. Her third collection, I'm Fine Really, was published in 2005, also by Stanbridge, and is the book I'm Fine Really stimulated a very interesting point which I make to you towards the end of my reading her career. Her work has been included in various anthologies, such as The White Page, a directory of 20th century Irish women writers, edited by Joan McBrien, and published by Salmon Press, and 4 Urban Voices, edited by Dermot Bodger, was published by the Raven Arts Press. There are some accomplishments so far. Some of her poems have been broadcast by RTE, Radio 1, and BBC Radio 4, a very fine compliment. An interview and recordings of some of the poems by Pauline in this book can be found on podcast.ie. For those of you in this famous land or times of podcasting and tripling and what else do they do? All kinds of funny Facebook and you get all kind of nudie pictures to it that they email it good at it. No, you can. I'm not telling lies, you can. You can do it. I'm doing myself so on my own, so it's very funny to be giving you around. In 2002, I will back to Pauline, I mustn't be so funny. Back to Pauline. In 2002, I beg your pardon, in 2002, Limerick artist Bridget Wallace collaborated with Pauline to produce a series of paintings based on poems from the collection Killer of Fishes. The resulting exhibition opened at the Printmakers Gallery in Limerick, a gallery by my head that I'm very, very proud of, and the owner of it too, and in Tala Community Centre, Arts Centre, and was sponsored by Tala Community Arts Centre. Pauline, ladies and gentlemen, has been giving readings of her poems in venues throughout Ireland and in Scotland, Wales, the Netherlands, and the United States of America. I'd ask you to give her a very, very warm welcome. And I'm going to ask Pauline to read one little poem to open up her evening, and then we'll have Pauline, as usual, after the break for her own presentation of her work. Pauline, do one special little poem for us to start us. With me here and that you and your back. No laughing at all in the background. This is a poetry set. It'll be very serious.
Well, this is not a serious poem. It's called Cures. We might all need some in the morning. For toothache, swollen knees, and writer's block, rum. For food cravings, fantasists, and unrepentant bigots, nettle soup. For hot flushes, apathy, and adolescent mood swings, cold showers. For posers, bullies, and apprentice saints, all of the above. For uninspired poets, list poems.
Joan McBrien said of Pauline, Pauline Fayne shares moments and experiences of her life with an honesty and integrity that is all too easily or rarely found in the contemporary poetry. Terry Murray said about Pauline's work, the strands of Fayne's life come together to cast a net, rich and textured, to enthrall the reader, a powerful blending of the imaginary in style that reaches both mind and heart. That's Terry's. Dominic Taylor says of Pauline Fayne has learned the language of poetry from being connected to her roots. That's interesting. While not being lied to. Well, that's tied up. Emotionally or historically. And then Eamon Linsky, whom I don't know personally, Anyone who values clear, direct, powerful writing will be delighted with this latest book from Pauline Fayne. And ladies and gentlemen, I've read the book from pillar to post. I couldn't from my heart do anything else other than recommend it. It's a book of real honesty and integrity above all else. And I mean that. And of course it is contemporary poetry, which is great humour in it. That's what we want in all our lives today. There we are. Now, fine poet actually, which Rodney. Please give a very warm welcome to Pauline Fayne, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the great welcome. It's always a great welcome, and this must be the most relaxed poetry reading I've ever been to. Every time I come here I'm amazed. It's so funny and the hecklers are great too. And normally I read my newest work first and then go back and read the oldest, but tonight I'm just going to pick in and out. You couldn't guess how old I was when I wrote any piece of your interested. This poem is called Carol. It was written for a woman who was a great inspiration to me and to Terry Murray, a wonderful poet who died before her work could be collected, and someday I hope we'll remedy that and get her work out there. Carol, you haven't left us. A woman in the God Help Us shop wears your turquoise stones. A stranger on the bus has your knowing eyes. The caller to a radio chat show has your dirty laugh. You taught me to listen for the whisper of an owl's wing at midnight, the mannerly way to salute the fairies, and the antibiotic properties of rum. You are with me still as I sprinkle your sayings into conversations and poems. Soon, and very soon indeed. God in a bottle, girl, we miss you. This poem is called The Curse. It was a childhood incident that stuck out in my mind. I had never heard anyone give a curse to anyone before. I mean, it was something from a fairy tale that you would curse somebody, and it stuck in my mind for that reason, that it was quite frightening for me. The curse. It was a summer Saturday in the year when man walked on the moon, and one generation separate from the black-cloaked woman whose picture frowned from the wall of her gap-roofed flat. When Aunt M came to visit, clutch bag filled with chocolate and cigarettes. Later, jealous of attention shared with children and chores, she wished on Mother's head the sorrow and hunger of all past generations. Later yet, I understood the irony in Mother's smile, she who had known little else. This is a love poem. It's a love poem on behalf of somebody else. This is called A Desperate Man. The Desperate Man is one of our neighbours in Talon, and I don't think he reads poetry, which is probably just as well. He's probably suing me for writing this poem for him. A desperate man. He whispers his need of her at dusk, at dawn, in supermarkets, in car parks, in friends' kitchens, at parties. To strangers, to neighbours, to children, to bus conductors, to barmen, to bouncers, to sparrows in hedges. And once in the middle of mass wailed his desperation as the consecrated host shook in the priest's pale fingers. That day he went away, returned with stumbling gait, eyes darting in constant search of some unknown lover. And still we sometimes hear his soft voice loud with longing as darkness drenches the trees. I should have married her. This is called Memories. You learnt early to bury the pain that weighted your mind, to throw yourself into the dance of daily life or toss into the bin the candy-coloured capsules that slowed your tongue. Sometimes you did both, but the frantic jig and hopscotch that ensued brought no joy into your children's lives. They learnt too that others prefer you, to edit the past, embrace new age optimism, fling cigarettes, greasy food and other chosen crutches away, pretend to be one of the undamaged, act. This is a love poem for my husband. I think it's the only love poem I ever gave him. I gave him a kind of sarcastic one at one stage. I'll read that one later on. But this is a real love poem. First night. In the beginning was the reception, the swell and lull of voices, of relatives and friends in the Shangri-La Hotel, and the band's tinny playing as we stepped out for the first waltz. I, miraculously unawkward in my wild satin dress, and you, looking as if you were born to wear that higher suit, awaiting the moment of escape to our secret destination yards away, a room with a view of the bay, where we left the curtains open and watched the sun chase the moon along an orange sea path. This one's called The Lady's Tale. It's about my grandmother, reading my mother's stepmother. When she visited us in Dublin, we travel up from Cork several times a year, and all our neighbours in Crumlin would call her the lady. Like, the lady's getting off the bus now, she's coming down the road. And she was very straight walking, very polite, wouldn't take any nonsense from anybody. So this is from what she told me about the way she grew up. The Lady's Tale. Stepping lightly across chicken-scratched earth, she senses mother's gaze, willing her to walk straight-spined as the corseted gentry, knees bending in mock genuflection before the stale millet stench of the brooding boxes, soft hands outstretched to shit-stained eggs. Egg money carefully hoarded buys the requisites for a lady: black court shoes, linen hankies, and the annual ritual of virginal lace gloves and new clothes to greet the risen Christ. Greet too the flushed youths and middle-aged farmers, their faces laced with fear of being left to die alone on a windy hill where cattle sing an unmilked dirge, of never being boss or gaffer or dado, for who in this place knew a man to call his father, father, a title reserved for God or the parish priest, face set in perpetual sorrow at men whose belief that kneeling in the church porch, praying for the pubs to open, fulfills religious obligation. And here, where the priest is the only man of learning, the lady in white gloves watches from the women's aisle the faces of potential husbands, eyes as lonely as her own, and when she migrates the 6 miles to the city, is not missed, made separate since birth by her mother's ambitions.